As many of you know, I was planning on being a hardcore player in Dragonflight, doing all the content, Mythic Plus, raiding, PvP, all of it. I was going to, quote, go hard when Dragonflight comes out. Well, needless to say, that did not happen due to real-life circumstances and women from Argentina. So here I am, once again, a casual PvP player. So I figured I would do my 30-day Dragonflight review from the perspective of a casual player that is primarily a PvPer, arena nut, that kind of perspective, because I know many of you guys are in that same camp where you just need a game to hop on and play for a couple hours and have a good time. So this review will be from that perspective. First of all, let's talk about the actual expansion feel. And this matters to me personally. I know many people do not care. They just want an arena box simulator and that's all they care about. But for me, I actually care about the world, the zones, the actual experience I'm playing in, the lore to a lesser degree. But I like being in a world that is fun to be in. So I did not like Mists of Pandaria, for example, because of the panda stuff. I just couldn't get into it. I know many people reminisce about the greatness of MoP, which press X to doubt. If MoP Classic came out, I think many people would remember the experience much differently, particularly like Season 1 Warriors and Infinity CC chains, literally infinite. But I do care about like the aesthetic of the expansion. And with Dragonflight, I like it. I'm not in love with the story. I'm not absolutely in love with the zones, but they're good. The zones are colorful. They're different from each other. It's not just infinite shades of brown and gray. You don't feel depressed being in the zone. It's not like Torghast. I do really enjoy the fact that they are extremely open and expansive. A lot of that is due to dragon riding, which we'll get into in a minute. But it genuinely feels like a world. The zones feel better to be in because they feel more organic. They don't feel like just a bunch of clumps of POIs. And WoW had kind of been going that direction where it didn't even feel like a world. It just felt like a bunch of just like stuff jammed together. And I don't know, it just felt kind of gross. So I'm really enjoying that. Dragon riding, I think, is by far the biggest win of the expansion because it's just an absolute win that seemingly everyone likes. I do not know a single person that does not like dragon riding. Not one. I have not encountered one person that's like, man, I prefer the old flying mounts. It's awesome. They absolutely nailed it. And unless Blizzard is completely incompetent, I think they're just going to transfer dragon riding over to all of the other world content because it's just better. I believe they have the capability to do this because the Drakthir have the soar racial, which lets them essentially dragon ride in the old world. So I genuinely think it's just a switch they can flip, and I imagine they will flip it. They would be crazy not to, because anybody that's made a trip to Orgrimmar and gotten on a normal flying mount after you're used to zipping around in Veldraken and swooping around, it sucks. So I do wonder what they're going to do with all the old legacy flying mounts. I think dragon riding is just going to replace flying unless Blizzard is crazy. They'd have to be crazy to have dragon riding be a one and done feature. So, yeah, they nailed that. I overall enjoyed the leveling process, the quests, the random dragon riding courses here and there, the general exploration of the zones, the races, again, the story. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't like some single player, awesome story experience, but it wasn't bad. I didn't dread leveling. Pretty solid. Another thing I've really enjoyed about Dragonflight is all of the class changes. Now, I will say I am a returning WoW player. I did not play the end of BFA or any of Shadowlands, so much of this stuff may not be as new to the veteran players as it is to me, but I really enjoyed the class revamps, all the new class talent trees, seeing old abilities come back that were, popular in Wrath of the Lich King or previous expansions. I really, really enjoyed all the class changes, and I think many people forget that we got basically entirely new classes in a lot of ways with Dragonflight because that was so long ago with the pre-patch. And we've had PTR access for a while, but I had a hard time picking a main in Dragonflight because so many of the class redesigns are just very well done. So big ups to Blizzard for that. Now, I have not personally done any Dungeons, Mythic Plus, raiding, any sort of serious PvE of any kind, I haven't done it, primarily because of the country of Argentina, but I've heard it's pretty good. So take that for what you will. I have some friends that have been doing that stuff, and they seem to be enjoying it, so I haven't heard any complaints, so it's probably at least passable. So now let's get into what Dragonflight doesn't have, which is probably more important than what it does have, and that is there's no bullshit systems. There is no legendaries or conduits or Azurite or anything like that. You get the gear and that's it. Just like the olden days. That's all there is. There's no other thing you gotta do, and it is fantastic. When I came back to WoW, I came back before Dragonflight came out. And I had gotten Shadowlands for free because nobody would ever pay for Shadowlands. Blizzard just started giving it away, I assume, after the first month, because who the fuck would play that garbage? But anyway, so I play I come back to WoW and just getting ready for Dragonflight, seeing what's up, getting familiarized, reoriented with the game. And I kind of like want to play. I'm like, let's hop in and do some PvP. What do I need to do to get competitively viable? Oh my God. Legendaries, conduits, gear, covenants, all this stuff I had to do. None of that is there. If you want to get in and download and play Dragonflight right now, you can be up and running and be a competitive PvPer within, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days, depending on how fast you level and get the honor gear. And I think you can catch up on Conquest too. So this is the easiest expansion to jump in, catch up, get in, and start playing. It's the most alt-friendly expansion of all time. The gear itself, at least in terms of PvP, the power level is it's smaller than ever. So a fully decked out, massively geared person is not that much better than the blue honor gear guy. Now it does matter, but that difference is smaller than it's ever been. And again, with the new Conquest point system, I believe you can just catch up. Somebody in the comments might be able to tell me, but it seems like the whole getting left behind shit, Blizzard is getting away from that, which is very, very good. Now let's get into the primary system that I engage with, and that is Solo Shuffle Arena. Now, there are many problems with Solo Shuffle Arena. These are obvious. The leaving issue is a big thing right now. The queue times for DPS, also a big problem. They need to incentivize more people to play healers. But with all of the problems, with all of the MMR madness, and all of the just things I've complained about and tweeted about, if you look at my Twitter, you'd think I'd hate solo queue. I like it. I think for its first implementation, for the first time they've put it out to the public, I think it's pretty fun. And I think it's going to kind of take over the game. I think it's going to be the primary way that people engage with World of Warcraft Arena PvP. I think it's going to get more people playing Arena PvP because, in my opinion, the biggest barrier to playing arenas was always finding people to play of the right classes because, of course, people only want to play like the comp or play specific comps or whatever. The social element was always the biggest point of friction, at least to me personally. And having a system where you just queue up and it's easy come, easy go is fantastic. So I think that is going to get a lot of people in and playing it because you got to understand, there's a lot of people that hop on World of Warcraft. They have, 2 hours of free time after work and they just want to, play a few games and get off. They don't want to spend the first hour waiting to find a discipline priest to play RMP. No, they just want to get on and play and have a good time. And yeah, Solo Shuffle is fantastic for that. Another thing I really like about Solo Shuffle that I thought I really wasn't going to enjoy that much is the random comps. I actually have a lot of fun with the randomness of like, oh man, we got 2 warlocks on my team this game. And in any other context besides Solo Queue Arena, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm playing Disc Priest, double warlock. This is awful. Fear, DRs, whatever. But now, Disc Priest, double warlock, I get that and I'm like, this is not the worst. And there are many times when you're playing Solo Shuffle where you get you're playing some bizarre team comp and you're like, you know what? Like this isn't half bad considering the context of no coordination, no voice, all the other solo shuffle variables. I enjoy that. I enjoy the oddities of that, and I think there's a lot of replayability there because, again, you never know what you're going to get. And I kind of like that because, we've all been playing normal 3v3 arena for so long that it's almost, in a lot of ways, scripted. It's like, okay, here's the stun, storm bolt, here comes the trap. It's like there's just so many, set plays that people run that it's kind of nice that solo shuffle is just crazy. So I've really been enjoying that. Now, the elephant in the room with solo shuffle is the queue times. You can't talk about solo shuffle without talking about the fact that many players are experiencing 45 minutes to an hour and a half long queues to play a single round of solo shuffle. And there is no fixing this problem without fixing the incentive structure of playing healers, because the problem with solo shuffle right now is there's just not enough people playing healers because, quite frankly, playing a healer is very hard. There is a lot of barrier to entry. It's a lot of stress. It's difficult to do. It's difficult to learn. You have a lot of keybinds. Yeah, the game, in a lot of ways, is in your hands, and that intimidates people because why do all that and have all of that hardship and burden when you can just hook an Xbox 360 controller in and get 2,600 on a Demon Hunter? Why would you go and learn how to play a healer? Well, that's why there's not many healers. So they need to work on incentivizing healers to really play, or for people to roll healers. And many people have suggested ideas. Obviously, boosting the boxes, putting gold in the boxes, many things like that would help. But I think they may need to go nuclear. I think they may need to have chase items, as in very rare items that you can get from winning solo shuffle rounds as a healer. And when I mean rare, I mean like black market auction house stuff, like mounts you can't get anymore. That, I think they may need to genuinely go nuclear on this thing to get healers in there and to really, get some incentive to play. I know that would get some people in there if there was some, maybe even exclusive stuff that you can only get from the healer boxes. But throw in some old stuff. Maybe you get a fucking, I don't know, Spectral Tiger can drop out of the thing. Who knows? They have so many rare items they could put in that thing that would absolutely get people to at least engage and maybe try healing. Because there's so many people where that initial friction and like the scariness of being a healer, it's so much for them that they're like, I'll just wait an hour and a half for a queue rather than play healer. Whereas maybe if there's a little bit of a carrot, like just a little bit, they'll be like, well, maybe I'll suck, but could get a Spectral Tiger, and eventually they get better, and maybe they end up liking it. That's what happened with me. I am a first-time healer in solo shuffle. I have never played a healer before. Jumped into Dragonflight, played a Disc Priest. I've been having a lot of fun. Now, obviously, learning to play a healer is very difficult. And, man, it's been tough for me to learn. But I've been really enjoying it, and actually ended up cracking into the top 25 Disc Priests at one point, at top 50 there for a bit, which is pretty cool for a first-timer. But what I like, and one of the best things about solo shuffle right now, is that if you are a healer and you want to get better, you have all of the opportunity in the world to get better because you can just spam queue games. Like you can practice all day if you want to and get real, genuine practice. And you have never been able to do that in the history of World of Warcraft like you can right now because, again, people want to play specific comps. Let's say you're a priest, but you're playing RMP and you want to get good at RMP, blah, blah, blah. And that whole social friction and all that time you spend not playing, you don't have that anymore. Now you can just train in 10x gravity solo queue and get pretty good. So I've really been enjoying that, and I've been enjoying the journey of just getting better because I've been playing World of Warcraft since 2004, as long as you can play it. And I've been a melee DPS almost exclusively the entire time. And playing a healer is totally different. Like it's just a totally different game with totally different keybind and just totally different mentality. So I like that. It's fun to do something totally different. So overall, I have really been enjoying Dragonflight. I think it's something I'll continue playing. Again, I don't think the whole I'm going to go hard when Dragonflight comes out. Clearly, I lied. I apologize. Again, real life fun South American women. But I like it, dude. It's a fun expansion that I think I'm gonna actually play despite real life getting in the way. And I think Blizzard is genuinely putting forth effort into unfucking the game. I think Final Fantasy coming in and kind of kicking their ass, and Shadowlands being egregiously horrible, actually has forced Blizzard to get their act together and make something pretty good. Like, I really can't complain about this expansion too much. I mean, yeah, the healer balance could be, that's another thing I didn't really talk about, is that healers, a part of the reason why there's not a lot of healers in solo queue is because the balance is not great. You know, Resto Druids and Evokers are kind of the kings and everybody else is not. But overall, enjoying the game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and join the Discord. It's free.